Okay. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This is good. This is good. These are all good things. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of the Thego Lopez podcast. And if you've been paying attention, we have not released episode 2. Episode 2 has not been released. Why? Because I don't have a computer. Why? Because I don't have money. Why? Because I fucked off in life. So, we're here at the library. We've got our beautiful editing system. We just edited a theme song. I created a theme song. We're going to upload the theme song before the second video. So we recorded the second one, recorded the theme song, recorded the third one. I know I should. Can't talk right now. Just the words are coming out all jarbled, and that's how it is at the Thego Lopez podcast. There is not much cuts. It's just one take. It's got to be one take because I don't have the time to edit. So, however it comes out is however it comes out. How has your week been? I hope it's been good. Did you find $1 on the ground? Did you find it useless because everything costs $5 now? Did you get a call from a long-lost loved one and they're so happy that they have a phone to call you and they want to get lunch? And you haven't had lunch with them in so long. You haven't seen them in years. And you're like, oh my God, you want to have lunch? But you don't have money. And you don't want to tell them. But they invited you to lunch and you accepted. And you don't know if they're going to pay for the lunch. And you're like, what am I going to do? What is going to happen? And then they tell you the name of the restaurant. And you definitely can't afford that restaurant. What's the name of the restaurant? Well, nobody's sponsoring me, so I'm not going to say the name of a restaurant. But just think. Close your eyes, and in your mind's eye, picture a restaurant. Oh, yeah. Oh, I know the one I'm picking. Oh, I can't say the name, but I want to say the name so bad. And the food is served on fancy plates. Plates that aren't really shaped the way they would go in a cupboard. You're like, this is not very feasible for a regular cupboard. You guys must have some kind of a special cupboard back there for these oddly shaped plates that you're going to serve this food that is way too small and way too expensive for the amount of food that I'm getting. But you're going to give me 16 of those plates, and they're all different shapes, and I definitely cannot afford this restaurant. But you haven't seen this person in years. You got to go. So you say yes. And all week you're thinking about how you can't afford it. You can't afford it. Even if you walked to work and didn't put gas in your car. Even if you told your landlord, I'm not going to be able to make rent this month. I'm going to have to pay half of it. You still could not afford that restaurant. But they want to go and they want to see you. And they're so excited. They're so excited. And then you start thinking aggressive thoughts. You're like, well, how did they get my number? I've changed my number. How did they get my... Who's been telling people mine? How dare they? How dare they ask around and ask for my number just to invite me to some restaurant? Ugh, gross. They probably want to throw it in my face. They're probably doing it on purpose. Ugh. And then you look for reasons to not like that person so that you don't have to go. So you could just say, you know what, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go to that freaking restaurant where they have the different types of forks, and I only use one of them. But there's like 4 different kinds of forks. What's the small one for? I have a big mouth. I don't need the small fork. I'm not going. I'm not going to go. And then you come up with some excuse to not go. One that you don't even believe, but you tell them. And they're nice. They're nice. So they say, okay, well, call me when you can. And you're like, I'm busy. I'm real busy, man. I'm busy. I'm doing a lot of stuff. And they're like, well, what are you busy with? And you get aggressive again. You're like, oh, I don't want to explain my life to you. Why do I have to explain my life to you? Every time you call, I got to explain my life to you, man? No, dude. No, this is my life. This is my life, and I'm really busy, and I don't want to go to that restaurant. But you do. You do want to go to that restaurant. Oh, you want to go so bad if you could only afford the restaurant. And you're desperately wanting to tell them so that they could cover the bill and you could go to the restaurant, but you don't. Why? Because that's life. That's men. That's how men are. We're just so toxic. We're just so full of ego, full of needing to know all the answers. You would enjoy the restaurant if you would just be more honest and open and vulnerable. Be vulnerable. That's part of the Thego Lopez podcast mantra. Men, be vulnerable. Stop being dumb and be vulnerable. And maybe you get to go to that restaurant. Maybe that happened this week. Maybe you had a new type of orange that you've never had before, and you didn't even know they existed. You're like, whoa, what is this called? And why do they look so weird? It's the color orange. I know this is the color orange, so my brain says it's going to taste like an orange, but it's shaped so odd. Wow, it kind of looks like an old-timey bomb without the fuse, and it's orange. Maybe you found that. And you tried one, and it was so good. But then you tried to buy more, and they're sold out. But you be patient. You'll get that new weird-looking orange again. I promise. Maybe you have allergies like me. I've had allergies all week. I've had allergies ever since I lived in California. That's just how you are. When you move to California, they send you a little packet in the mail, a little brochure. You get a coupon for Friedman's. You get the latest farmer's market schedule. And you get a pack of Zyrtec. And like, you're going to need it. You're going to need all three of these. You're going to need the Zyrtec. You're going to need the farmer's market. And you're going to need the coupons to Friedman's. You're going to need the coupons to Friedman's because you can't afford to pay for any contractors to fix your house after the price that you paid for the house, which was clearly overpriced. It was so overpriced. And you paid anyway. You paid. Not only did you pay for the house that was overpriced, you were in a bidding war for the house that was overpriced. So you paid more than the overpriced price for the price of the house by like $75,000 trying to compete with some woman in Temecula who just has to live in the Bay Area because Temecula just ain't doing it anymore. Temecula was a jump-off point. I think that's the town motto for Temecula. Temecula, a jump-off point to the Bay Area. So you're going to need those coupons to Friedman's because you're going to be doing all the fixings yourself. All of them. Every single one of them. Permits? Who needs permits? Don't worry about permits. You're never going to sell the house. You're never going to sell this house. And when you do, it's going to be a nightmare. But for now, no permits. You're going to need the farmer's market schedule because everyone loves a good farmer's market. Why pay $5 for honey at the store? Who does that? What kind of an idiot spends $5 on store honey? You spend $25 on artisanal honey, and it's half of the price. It's half of the jar. It's a tiny little jar. It covers 2 pieces of sourdough bread, and you got to go back next week to get more. And then you can grow your own veggies. You buy veggie starters at the farmer's market, and you get a brisket sandwich, and that's it. That's your monthly budget. So the jar of honey, the brisket sandwich, and the strawberry starters, and the dahlia tubers, whatever the hell a dahlia tuber is. You get like 6 of them. And then finally, you get your pack of Zyrtec. You get your pack of Zyrtec because there was some brazen son of a bitch named Luther Burbank who decided to just ruin everyone's lives. Yeah, Luther Burbank, controversial figure. Is he a hero? Is he a villain? Is he an idiot? Is he a toxic man? Is he another man who thought he had all the answers? So he's like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to impress the ladies with all the flowers. I'm going to bring all the flowers to Santa Rosa, California. Ooh, I'm going to start my own garden. Oh, I'm not really thinking about I wonder what the consequences are for bringing all of these different varieties of flowers and pollens to a place where they're not really, what's that called? Indigenous. So it's just a nightmare every spring for everyone who has allergies. And now we all have allergies because of Luther Burbank. Thanks, Luther Burbank. Thanks a lot. We named a garden after you. Thank you. Thego Lopez Podcast, Episode 3. I'm glad you guys are here. We're at the library. We're at the Santa Rosa Public Library in the E Street Studios. I really love it. It's very nice. It's very nice. You get studio time. You have a piano. You can play piano. There's a box fan. I don't know why they would put a box fan here. I use it as a phone stand. You're on top of the box fan right now. But if you turn it on, it's going to pick up everything into the microphone. So you have fans that you cannot use, and they're just good for looking at. My week has been just counting the pennies so that I could put them in my gas tank, so that I could go another mile. That's what I see. When I see a penny on the ground now, I think, ooh, gas money. Hey, look at that. Oh, wow, some poor fool dropped some gas money. And I'm going to pick up gas money because that's all you can afford right now. I rent a room for whatever in your location, for whatever you're renting a house right now, I'm renting a room. I'm living with 4 other people in an apartment, renting a room for the price of, oh my God, are you renting? Are you leasing a brand new Lexus right now? That's probably about what I'm paying for my living situation. For that Lexus GX 550 that you are leasing and you are going to give back in 3 years and get another one, that's my rent. And 4 other people pay that rent to some guy who doesn't even live there. But he's just banking on people renting rooms. And you know what happens? Do you know what happens when you build a 100-unit apartment complex and you build a parking lot for families? So you think every apartment complex is going to have 1 man, 1 woman, and 2.3 children. And you're going to have plenty of parking. And the man is going to have a car, and the woman is going to have a car. But we didn't think about the dystopian nightmare that we would be creating by just pumping the market with Twitter and Bitcoin and Equinox locations. And now no one can afford anything. So now it's 5 people per apartment, sometimes 6 or even 7. And everyone's got a car, sometimes 2 cars, or a car and a motorcycle, or a car and a powered bicycle. Ooh, those are real popular now. So now, in order to park in my apartment complex in Santa Rosa, I have to park in Rohnert Park. And then just walk to my apartment complex. It takes me 45 minutes to get to my car every single day. I have not been on time to work once. Why? Because I love California. Are we going to edit this cough? No, we're not. There's no time. There's no time. There's no skill. Thego Lopez Podcast, Episode 3. It's just raw. Raw like the honey that you overpaid for at the farmer's market. Raw. Raw like how badly we are getting stooped over everything in this godforsaken state. Too much taxes. More coughing. Why? Can't afford the medicine. Why? Because everything's so expensive. Welcome to California. Do you like fresh organic fruit? You better have a tech job. Welcome to California. You want a full tank of gas? Ha! Dream on. Welcome to California. That's right. California dreaming. It really is. That song is really accurate because it's all a dream. But we're here. We're doing it. That's why we're stupid. That's what makes us idiots. We're here. We could leave. We could go somewhere else. But we don't. Why? I don't know. I mean, I got kids here, so that's one reason. But I could buy a house somewhere else and say, look, I bought a house for like $300. I bought 10 acres of land for $1,000. But you wouldn't have a Shake Shack nearby. And we need our Shake Shacks. Where can I find an affordable house next to a Shake Shack? Can't do it. Going to stay here. So suffer with us in California. The Thego Lopez Podcast, Episode 3. Last episode, we went to CNN and read the terms of agreement, which that was no bueno. That was no bueno. Basically gave up my right. I think CNN still owns my car because I went to the CNN website. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm a dum-dum. I'm Thego Lopez. I spent the first half of my life thinking I knew everything. It was so easy, man. I'm telling you, life is so much easier when you know everything. And then once you have the realization that you don't know anything, it just all sort of collapses under you. Like a brittle piece of, like what's brittle? You know, what's like a potato chip? Like you were living life on a potato chip. Like your floor was made out of Ruffles potato chips. And you just crunch, 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 crunch. And you thought the sound of crunching was beautiful music you were making. But it was just chaos you were creating for the future, for future you, that has to pick up all those crumbs, all those Ruffles potato chip crumbs. I'm really hungry. I have not had dinner. I can't afford to eat out. I can't afford anything. I have to wait. I can afford ingredients. That's what I can afford. I can't afford food that's made. Welcome to California. Do you like food that's made? You better sell a kidney, because that's what it takes to have food that's already made. No, you go to a food pantry. You go to the food pantry, and they give you ingredients, and then you supplement those ingredients with like lard and butter that you buy at the store, and you just roast everything in butter and lard. I roast my oranges in butter. They give me large, weird-shaped oranges, and then I cook them in butter. And then they give you peanut butter. You just eat that out of the jar. You mix it with rice, and you mix it with chicken, and everything. Peanut butter, everything. Iron Chef, peanut butter edition. Peanut butter rice. Peanut butter mac and cheese. Peanut butter covered peanut butter with peanut butter filling and peanut butter sprinkles on peanuts. Welcome to California. So I'm hungry right now. And I'm thinking about the little bit of food I have at home. I'm like, I don't have the ingredients to cook that food. I gotta buy ingredients. So hopefully I can afford the ingredients. Or if not, you know what I ate the other day for breakfast? Cereal. Just cereal. No zhuzh, no sugar. Can't afford sugar. Can't afford milk. For half a second I was thinking about putting water in. I'm like, I'm not an animal. What kind of animal does that? You live in California, have some decency. You sit there at the empty table, because you can't afford tablecloths. I can't afford a tablecloth. My roommates can't afford tablecloths. I just sit there at the empty table with a bowl that I don't own. Someone left, some other poor schmuck that rented the room until he went crazy or got back on whatever hard drugs he was on, and then just left his stuff there. And it's a bowl that has like little kitty paws all over it and squiggly lines. And then you're like, I don't know if this was a cat bowl. Was this a cat bowl? It's a deep cat bowl. This is way too big for a cat bowl, but it's designed like a cat bowl. That doesn't make sense. You pour your cereal, your food pantry cereal into it. You get cereal at the food pantry, and you pour it in there. You don't even need milk. You can't afford milk. So you say you don't need it. You wish you had it, but you don't have it. You don't have a spoon. Can't afford spoons. Just eat with your hands. Like in the Middle East. They got it made in the Middle East. The spoon demographic in the Middle East is so dwindling. No one uses spoons in the Middle East. They just eat with their hands. You gotta eat like a Middle Easterner. I don't know if that's politically correct to say. Is that the politically correct term? Middle Easterner? I don't know. They know how to not to use spoons. So you don't use a spoon. You dry cereal. That's what I did. Dry Honey Nut Cheerios in a bag without the box. It didn't even come with a box. It was just the bag that has the serial number printed on it, and I had to guess that it was Honey Nut Cheerios. I knew it was Cheerios. I knew it was in the shape of a tiny little mouse tire. If a mouse built a car and needed some wheels for it, it could use some Honey Nut Cheerios. So I was like, okay, and it's not multicolored. It's not the color of the rainbow. It's not the color of unicorn farts. So it's not Fruit Loops. And it's not the color of something that came out of my butthole. So it's not chocolate ring cereal stuff. I don't know, whoever makes that. Choco poops. Whatever, brown rings, whatever they call those. So it's got to be a Cheerio. What kind of Cheerio? I don't know. You got to eat it. You eat it, you guess. You're like, all right. It doesn't feel like I'm taking the cinnamon challenge. So it's not the regular Cheerios that dry your esophagus like the Mojave Desert on a warm April night. That doesn't make sense. The desert is cold at night. We're just rolling with it. The Thego Lopez podcast. Dry cereal. Sometimes, you know what I like to do? I like to take peanut butter and then put it on my finger like that. And then I just swirl my finger in a dry thing of Cheerios, and it sticks. So the peanut butter sticks to my finger, and then the Honey Nut Cheerios stick to the peanut butter, and I call that a poverty popsicle. Those are poverty pops. You want a poverty pop? All you need is a jar of peanut butter, a bag of unmarked Cheerios that you got from the food pantry, no dignity. You just throw that in the trash can, and a finger. And then if you're hungry, you use your middle finger because that's your biggest finger. And if you're not hungry, you're not that hungry, use your pinky. And then you dip it in the peanut butter, and then you swirl it in the Cheerios, and it sticks to it, and then you eat it. You make sure not to eat your finger, though, because you're going to need that for tomorrow, because you don't own spoons, remember? These are your salad finger spoons. Yeah. Eat that. Poverty Pops. Poverty Pops, brought to you by Thego Lopez. That's a recipe that you can have. Poverty Pops. I love that. Those are good. Yeah, peanut butter everything. Welcome to California. It's Thego Lopez Podcast, Episode 3. I was thinking, what's happening on the other side of the pond? You know, we're here in America. We got our news, which just bums us out, so we're not really listening to. Somebody told me Donald Trump thought he was Dr. Jesus the other day, but he was just misquoting his own cabinet, his own press secretary. His press secretary tells him to say something, and he doesn't even have the mental capacity to remember the sentence to say so that he looks good. So they have a picture of Jesus, and it looks like Donald Trump, and his press secretary says, just tell him it was a doctored photo. And then he comes out and he's like, I think I'm a doctor. And they're like, what? What the fuck are you just saying? What the fuck did you just say to us right now? Dr. Jesus. That's why they stopped him from healing. Dr. Jesus, healing people from the dead. Rule breaker, real rebel. Jesus. Yeah, no. That's on the news. That's all I heard. Other than that, I haven't really kept up with the news because it's a bummer. It's a bummer of the time to just look at the news and be like, oh, well, that's hopeless. It's all hopeless. Elon Musk keeps getting richer. Every week, another $1 billion, more satellites up in space, more robots. Keep making more robots, Elon. Please let us all pray for Elon Musk so that he can make as many robots as possible so that they can fight the Chinese robots that Xi Jinping is making over there. So we're going to need someone to fight the robots. I don't know how to fight the robot. What do? Do you throw him in a bathtub like a toaster and he glitches out? I don't know. I don't know how to fight a robot, man. So I need somebody smart to make robot fighting robots, like the kind that you, the spinny ones. What are those called? These little spinny robots. Those are the only kind I know how to fight. And the only way I can fight that one is with a Beyblade. Yeah. This is the only kind of robots I know how to fight, Beyblades. And the only way to fight a Beyblade is with another Beyblade. If you're out of Beyblades, then you're screwed. If there's an army of Beyblades on the horizon spinning towards you, you are screwed. Unless you've got your own army of Beyblades. And that's what we need. We need a super rich billionaire, soon to be trillionaire, to make a bunch of advanced Beyblades so that when the Chinese come over the horizon with their robots to subjugate us and take away our forks and spoons and make us eat chopsticks, I'll be like, ha ha, joke's on you. I can't afford forks or spoons. You can't take those away from me. I eat with my finger. Poverty pops, remember? Yeah. Chopsticks would actually be a step up. So, joke's on you. When they come over the horizon, they take over, what are you going to do? You're going to punch a robot? You're going to break every finger on your hand trying to punch a robot. I dare you. I dare you to punch a robot. I dare you to punch a hard avocado. You could even smash through a hard avocado. That's how weak we are. We're not very strong in America. You know? We've had all the goods for so long. We haven't really. You think you're big? You think you're strong? Tell you what, if you think you're big and strong, go to Google right now and Google Russian wrestlers. Yeah, that's a bummer, isn't it? Oh, that took the wind out of your sails real quick, didn't it? Yeah, we're not that strong in America, you know? We've got Delta Force, we got SEAL Team 6, and that's like 30 guys to protect the rest of us. That's it. Chuck Norris is dead. We're screwed. All right? I think Jean-Claude Van Damme, he's getting up there. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Who is going to protect the homeland? You? Ha! I don't think so. Me? Even less. Oh, man, I give them wrong directions. That's what I could do. Chinese soldiers come over, I'll give them directions to Canada. Ha ha! Tricked them. Outsmarted them. But if they're a robot, maybe they use their little robot eye. They're like, lie detected, you know? And then they take my poverty pop utensils and chop them off. And now I got no fingers on my hands because I lied to a Chinese robot. And now I can't eat. What am I going to do? Am I going to say, I can't stick my fist in a jar of peanut butter. Maybe the family size, but I can't afford that. I can only have the little jars of peanut butter. And if you cut off all of my fingers and try to jam this nub, this penguin nub into a jar of peanut butter, I can't. I cannot. I'm just going to have to pour with my two. I'm going to like dolphin the bag of cereal and just kind of flip it over. I'll have flippers. They'll call me Flipper. Just flip it over into the jar of peanut butter and kind of shake it with my toes. I'll grip it with my feet. I'll become like one of those bonobo monkeys that use their feet for everything. Why? Because I had to lie to a Chinese robot and there were no Elon Musk robots to protect us. We need you, Elon Musk. Please. Put down the Cybertruck. The thing looks like a shaved ice maker. No one likes them. Okay? I see that. I want shaved ice every time I see a Cybertruck. Okay? No more of those. Put those down. All right? Flamethrowers? Good. Make more of those. We're going to need those for the post-apocalyptic wasteland we're all going to be living in 10 to 20 years. While you sit in your ivory tower. Give us more robots, Elon Musk. Please. Please. So, I was thinking about what they're doing over there across the pond. Because as an empire, are we crumbling? I don't know, but we're still an empire. As an empire, we need to link up with other empires that aren't really empires anymore. We're an empire that isn't really an empire, trying to make friends with other empires that aren't really empires anymore. Like Britain. Britain used to have their little phalanges and everything. The sun never sets on the British Empire, you know? That's what they used to say. You know, the sun also never sets on my asshole because it's so deep and dark in there and I have a Puerto Rican butt. The sun never goes in there. But that's neither here nor there. I don't want to brag about my ass to the British because they don't have asses. They're all flat ass, pancake ass people. Sorry, shouldn't talk about our allies like that. Britain, We love you, all right? What's happening across the pond? And I thought, well, in this age of the internet, what we could do is we could go to some British news. I happen to know a place that serves British news, British broadcasting. Actually, a corporation that serves British broadcasting. So today, we're going to go to the BBC. And I know here in America, the BBC has come to mean something else entirely. Something else that people in some states now need ID for. But we're not talking about that one. We're talking about the other BBC. You know? I heard an overweight woman in Florida once say that BBC actually stands for Bitches Bringing CPAPs, which I thought was pretty hilarious. So it could mean another thing. But right now, with my stuffy nose, we're going to go to the British Broadcasting Corporation. So we're going to open up a window here. We're going to type in BBC website. I'm not going to guess. I'm not going to assume that it's still the same one, because I don't make assumptions anymore. I let Google assume for me. That's what AI is for, to make assumptions for me. Are there robots coming over the horizon from China? I'll ask Gemini. Gemini will tell me. Gemini is a good robot. Gemini won't betray me. He won't be on the side of the robots, will he? I hope not. Oh, God, I hope not. Programmers of Gemini, make sure that they're not on the side of the robots. All right, so there's the BBC.com. But that feels like, I thought it was the BBC.co.uk. Well, I guess .com has got to be it. That's why I don't assume. That's why I let AI assume for me. All right, let's see. BBC, first of all, no terms of agreement. You could just go right now to the BBC, and there are, boy, I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel about what I'm seeing. So I'm seeing two women with headscarves on, and there is a guy next to them, looks like a soldier, I think. He's either a soldier or a guy about to fight Jason Statham in a movie where Jason Statham exclusively wears a suit and never gets it dirty. You know that movie. Right. I think I'm going to wear a suit. You know, that guy. Jason Statham. I don't do a very good Jason Statham impersonation. I think you're ready for the business. You know, like that. Jason Statham. And this guy looks too cool for school. He looks too cool for school. He looks like that motorcycle wishes it could be ridden by him. He's got the beard, all nice and afilao, as the Puerto Ricans say, super afilao. He's just sitting here like that with his thug pose. He's got aviators on. He's not even looking at the women with the headscarves. All the women headscarves. I don't know where this is right now, but is it in Iran? Is he Iranian? Is he some cool Iranian dude? I don't know. I don't know what an Iranian looks like, other than the ones that look like terrorists, because those are the only ones that they show us on the news. They don't show us regular people. They just show us stereotyped people. That's why it's hard to learn about other cultures, because we only see the stereotypes. And then we say the stereotypes and people are like, oh, that's very offensive. Well, I don't know any other kinds of people. The only kinds of people I know are the stereotypes, because that's what was fed to me through Bugs Bunny and Donald Duck and that one Marvin the Martian guy who was always trying to conquer. I think he was trying to start his own empire, always trying to conquer places. Little Marvin the Martian, the Marvin the Martian Empire, you know? Marvin Andrea. Marvinopolis he's trying to create, you know? So let's see. Let's click here. It says, under fragile ceasefire, Iranians wonder if U.S. deal can be done. Do they? Do they? How do you know? How do you know what Iranians are wondering while we're carpet bombing them? Are we, as the airplanes are flying overhead and we're dropping the bombs, are the pilots sticking their heads out the window and going, hey, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on peace? Watch out for this bomb. Hey, this bomb takes about 2.5 minutes to reach the ground, but until it reaches the ground, what are your guys' thoughts on a ceasefire? Is that how we found out what they wonder about a ceasefire? I don't know. I can only... how am I... Oh, now they want me to subscribe. I can't even... I wish I could tell you. Now they want me to subscribe. $8.99 a month. In order to tell you what this cool Iranian Jason Statham villain looks like, I have to pay $8.99 a month or $49.99 a year. That's actually a great deal, but I can't afford that. Save 54%. So what do? How am I supposed to know what's happening across the pond now if I can't get to the news? All right, so let's type in here free British news, right? That's pretty good. That should get us something, right? Free British news. Look at this, the British Newspaper Archive. We don't want the archive. We don't want old... Guys, let me tell you something. Once the news gets put into an archive, it stops being the news. Okay? You can't have a news archive. It's an information archive. It's information that when it was new, was news. Is news short for new shit? We just can't say new shit on TV, so we say news? Is that what it means? Is news short for new shit? I don't know. And it's funny because I put free British newspapers, and the first one it says is the BBC. Boo. Boo. Let's go to the Guardian. Let's see what the Guardian says the latest news. Ooh, the Telegraph. Let's do the Telegraph. The Telegraph sounds British as shit, doesn't it? Right, I'm gonna get me the Telegraph, yeah? I'm gonna ring up my friend on the telly. And I'm gonna listen to the Telegraph. Yeah, right, it is. Here we go. All right, the Telegraph. It's even in old-timey British letters. Okay, so far, so good. So far, so good. All right, look at this. There's a U.S. edition and a UK edition. Let's go to the UK edition and see what's happening with our friends across the pond. What's happening, Britain? How are you guys? Are you okay? The last time I even thought about Britain was Boris Johnson. Did that go well for you guys? How did that go? How did Boris Johnson go? Did Boris Johnson go well? Are you guys happy with all the things that Boris Johnson did that I don't know? Because they only told me that Boris Johnson looks like Donald Trump. He kind of does with the scraggly hair. Let's see how it's going. Family tax bills rise 4,000 L's. Fancy L's. Family tax bills rise 4,000 fancy L's. What is that? What money? What's British money? Is L? Liras? Do they use limericks? Do they pay with limericks? There once was a man from Britain who couldn't get his tit in. He tried so hard and he ate some lard and cooked himself some grits in? I don't know. What does the fancy L stand for? So, family tax bills rise 4,000 fancy L's under Reeves. Household bear the fastest tax increase in the world. Oh, good. You are also screwed. We look at kindred spirits, Britain. I knew there was a reason we were allies. Because you're also getting shafted with taxes, just like us. Wow. We should run in a giant field full of flowers, running hand in hand. Where are we running? Away from the tax man. Because of all the taxes. You and us, Britain. Us and you. Beautiful. SNP. I don't know what that means. It's on track for majority. SNP. Snob-nosed Nancy Pelosi's. I don't know. Whatever SNP stand for. Super Nancy Pelosi. That's when Nancy Pelosi takes like a two Adderall. She looks in the mirror and she's like, Super Nancy Pelosi now. Ooh, I'm going to pick all the right stocks. Super Nancy Pelosi. Limited time offer. Claim your offer. Oh, I can't read the... Oh, they're letting me read. Okay. Let's see. Britain has lost the will to defend itself, says James Kirkup. James Kirkup, shut the fuck up. What do you know about what if Britons want to defend themselves more than anything? You're just one guy talking for an entire nation. Britain has lost the will to defend itself. Boo. I met a guy from the British Special Forces, the SAS, about a month ago, and you know what? He's defending that shit just fine. Doesn't look, he's tall. You ever meet a guy so tall and buff that you swoon, and you're a guy, but you don't want to swoon? You're like, oh my. Ooh, it's been a while since we've had a man in the house, you know? He was like that. He was big. He looked like Chris Hemsworth. He looked like he could beat me up even if he had the flu. He looked like he could win a fight with me with COVID and with one arm cut off and the other arm not having fingers because of Chinese robots. He could still just slap me with his flipper. I think that kind of a man can defend Britain. Thank you very much, James Kirkup, whoever the hell you are. But you sit down and you let Britain speak for themselves. Let's see. Gary Lineker's podcast Empire. Whoa. Okay. Wow. See? Everyone's trying to start an empire. See? Britain. Napoleon. Marvin the Martian. Gary Lineker. Everyone wants an empire. Who doesn't want a good empire? Huh? Those are great. Got a lot of commodities. Collect taxes. You know? It's good. You'll promise a jar of peanut butter for all of my constituents, all of my what do you call it? If you have an empire, what are the people in your empire? Your not your disciples, what is that? Your population? What do you call that? My population, my people. You know, all the people in my empire. Everyone gets a jar of peanut butter. Poverty pops for everybody. You know? Well, Gary Lineker is looking to do that. Gary Lineker's podcast empire forced into an apology. What? They forced a guy who has an empire to apologize? Let me tell you something. Apologies are not what empires do. You don't apologize. You make mistakes, and then you double down. And you say, we meant to do that. And if you don't like it, well, up yours. We're an empire. It's our strait. Strait of Hormuz. We're going to rename it the Strait of America. All right? There's the Gulf of America. There's the Strait of America. And then we're going to call North Pole and South Pole North America and South America. Sorry, South America. Sorry, North America. And it's going to be confusing. We're going to do that now. The North Pole is now North America. South Pole, South America. And everything in between is an America sandwich, baby, that we share with our allies like Britain. And Gary Lineker. I don't even know who Gary Lineker is. Gary Lineker. Show hosted by Millie Bright and Rachel Daly. I don't know. But apparently a woman is stepping on another woman. I don't know who these women are. And that's bad. Or it's good. I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad. What did the woman want to be stepped on? Is she like, I'm having some really bad lower back pain. I really could use, if you could just put pressure on my lower back with the heel of your foot and just kind of give it a crack, not too much, I got kidneys back there. Be careful with my kidneys, but just give it a good old cracking. Give it a crack-a-loo. And that would make my lower back feel better, Maybe she's doing that. Maybe they're good friends, Maybe she's like, I want to pretend to be a skateboard. She's like, what? What did you just say? And the woman's like, yeah, I now identify as a skateboard. I identify as a skateboard. Don't take my rights away from me. I have the right to identify as whatever I want, and I identify as a skateboard, and I want you to ride me. I want you to ride me like a skateboard. He's like, are you coming on to me right now? It's like, no, you pervert. No, I'm not. I'm not being sexual at all. Why would you possibly think that I'm being sexual? Okay, I'm saying I identify as a skateboard. I'm hard and I want you to ride me. And you're like, Jesus, can you pick different words? Oh, wow. Wow. So now you're going to judge, and now you're going to dictate my speech? Now you're going to say what I can identify as and how I can talk? How dare you? How dare you? That could be it. I don't know. I have no idea. So let's see. They keep saying try 3 months for free, and I'm like, nope. Gary Lineker's podcast empire has been forced into an embarrassing apology. Whoa. How is an apology embarrassing? Did they make him wear like a full baby gear? Is he in a diaper and he's got a binky and he's holding a rattle like the cartoon babies with the little bonnet? Goo goo gaga, I'm so sorry. How is an apology embarrassing? Huh? That's toxic masculinity right there. Apologies are not embarrassing, my friends. Tears are not embarrassing. Sometimes you got to cry and you have to apologize profusely to the woman behind the counter at the Chick-fil-A. And there's nothing embarrassing about it, all right? You apologize your heart out, America and Britain. So, apparently, Gary Lineker's podcast, Empire, the Empire. Now, by the way, we're not even talking about Gary Lineker. Gary Lineker is fine. Gary Lineker hasn't had to do anything. Gary Lineker's podcast empire. You see what they do? You see how the people on top just bring it down to the masses. That's the word, the masses. His podcast empire. Because what is an empire when all is said and done? It's the people, the masses. So Gary Lineker's sitting high and mighty on his podcast throne and his podcast empire. All of the masses are forced into an embarrassing apology. What does that mean? You, as a fan of Gary Lineker, have to apologize for Gary Lineker's behavior, even though you had nothing to do with it. You're guilty of having ears. That's your crime. You're guilty of having ears. You know, we deal with something like that over here, Britain, with Joe Rogan, where Joe Rogan says things and then they go into your ears and you're like, huh, that's interesting. And then people hate you and they're like, how dare you find that interesting? How dare you? And they force you into an embarrassing apology on behalf of the Joe Rogan empire. But you didn't say those things. And you don't know those things. And you can't verify those things because you don't have time. Because you're working 2 jobs and trying to raise your kids so that you can buy them some poverty pops. Say, hey, kids, come sit around the table. Dip your finger in the peanut butter and then swirl it in the Cheerios because that's what we're eating all month long. Because daddy can't afford anything. You want to get to school? Well, we need gas. You want gas? Well, then eat peanut butter and Cheerios off of your finger. So we don't have time to verify any of the things. So we have to trust the things that the people tell us, and hopefully the things that the people tell us are right. And hopefully your Aunt Susan at Thanksgiving isn't going to make you force you into an embarrassing apology based on something that someone else said on some podcast. And they're making millions of dollars saying these things. I hope they verified them. That's how I grew up, okay? That's how I grew up, and the world is very different now. When I went to the doctor said, you have a flu, and I didn't say, well, how did you verify that? How did you arrive at the conclusion, doctor? No, like, all right, what do I do? Well, you want to drink plenty of fluids, and you got to, maybe once a day you put a rectal thermometer up your butt, and you check your temperature, and... What? What did you say? Oh, yeah, take a rectal thermometer. You put it up your butt. And you check your temperature once a day. Make sure you're not having a fever. Why don't I just put it in my mouth? I got a regular mouth thermometer. Yeah, Those have not been deemed as effective as the rectal thermometer. So you're really going to want to jam that thing up your butt and take your temperature once a day. Are you sure about that? Well, yeah, I got the medical degree here on the wall, the one that it's in crippling debt after medical school. So I would say, yeah, but listen to me. Shove the thermometer up your butt and take your temperature rectally once a day till you don't feel the symptoms of flu anymore. And that's what you did. You listened to the doctor and you went home. You shoved the thermometer up your butt and you're like, this feels weird, but the doctor said it's more effective than taking the temperature in the mouth. And you had no way to verify anything, and no one asked you to verify anything. No one required verification. Now there's verification upon verification. Now there's two-step verification. Now you have to verify that you're verifying to get verified. What? How many verifications do I need? Oh my God, it's so exhausting just to verify. So I don't know. An embarrassing apology on Gary Lineker's podcast Empire. Millie Bright's podcast used an image of her Chelsea teammate, Lauren James. Okay. So, Chelsea teammate, Lauren James. So, one of these women play for Chelsea. I don't know, because I don't know what someone from Chelsea looks like. And I don't know the Chelsea colors. And it doesn't say Chelsea anywhere on either one of their uniforms. So I don't know which one is. I'm going to say the one stepping on top of the other woman is the one that has to apologize. I don't know. Maybe the other woman slid underneath. Maybe she slid underneath her to stop her from using her feet for soccer, which is a dastardly deed, because soccer is like 85% feet and then head, right? Use your head to do the tricky move to get the goal, and then you use your feet for everything else. So how can I incapacitate my opponents? By sliding underneath their feet. Now, when they step down, they step on me. They don't step on the ground. So they don't have access to a soccer ball anymore because I'm blocking them. So boo. Boo for that woman that's underneath that woman's foot. How dare she? How dare she stop this poor Lauren James from playing the game that she wants to play more than anything else. And you know what? The woman on the floor is smiling, and the woman on top is frowning. She's probably sad. She's like, I wanted to play soccer. I didn't want to be here. Now what's my foot going to do? I'm all unlevel. 1 foot up, 1 foot down. What am I about to do? A hop? A skip it? Remember the skip it? Skip it. Skip it. You jump around in place. It was a tool that parents used to leave their children at home while they went and drank beer and worked on the car. They gave their kid to skip it. Hey, here, jump up and down in the living room for 45 minutes till you pass out so I could change this carburetor and drink a Coors Banquet. All right? That's what she looks like. Like a child about to use a skip it. I don't know who's right or wrong. And I would keep reading because this is being sent off to promote the most recent episode, ... To read this article for free, enter your email. Now they want your data. I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to giving data to people overseas. No, I'm an American. I give my data to American corporations, and American corporations that do multinational deals with international corporations. That's right. Those are the only people capable of getting my data. Everyone else, screw off. You don't get this sweet, sweet data. These sweet, sweet bits. You want my little bits? Well, you don't get them. No. Let's go back. Let's see if there's anything on the main page that we can. I guess we just read summaries. I might as well be on Twitter because they're only giving me 140 characters, and then they say you got to subscribe. Let's see. Is there anything good? Oh, great. AI is coming for your job, your partner, and in parentheses, I don't know what this means. Apparently, why do they have apparently in parentheses? Am I not supposed to read that out loud? So is the sentence really, AI is coming for your job, your partner, and even your God? What? Which one? I've got like 5 of them. Which God are they coming for? Your God? What if you have multiple gods? Like in India, which God are they coming for? Vishnu? Krishna? The one that's the elephant head with 4 arms? Which one? Which one? Do you believe in Roman gods? Are they coming for Zeus? Are they coming for Aphrodite? Which God are they coming for? I don't know. This is Grayson Perry's ability to see the absurd. Ooh, I like this guy already. Because to see the absurd definitely takes ability. A normal person can't see the absurd. A normal person is in the absurd. And you can't see the forest for the trees, they say. I don't know what that means, but they say it, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to sound smart. So you can't see the forest for the trees. You can't see the absurd. All the absurdity in the world when you're in the absurd, when you're living absurdly. It's hard to see the absurd. There's so many absurd things out there. This terrifying look into how artificial intelligence is set to transform humanity. You know what? We could skip over that. We could just skip right by that. You know? Don't need to know that. Don't need to know that. Yeah, there's really not much that I can read that's not behind a paywall. It's all behind a paywall. Okay? So how about I type in now British news that isn't behind a paywall. For free, reliable, AI is telling me this, by the way. AI that I just said into the microphone that they're coming for your jobs, your wives, your firstborns, all of your gods. There are no gods that are safe from AI, in parentheses, apparently. Now AI is telling me where to get the free news. It says for free, reliable British news without paywalls. The best options are the BBC. That is a lie. That is a straight up lie. And The Guardian. Nope. We're going to have to go to The Guardian because the BBC is not free. That is false. Fake news. Fake news. That's right. Guardian. And I believe in Dr. Jesus. Let's see. Guardian. Okay. Latest news, sports, and opinions. We don't want opinions. Keep your opinions to yourself. I don't care about your opinions. Give me the news. Journalism. Objective journalism. Where is that? Where is that anymore? You remember that? You remember the guy with the hat? And then he's got the little ticket in the brim of the hat? And he's looking at his pencil? Ah, Mr. Governor. So, you say we've got new roads coming in, but it's been 5 years and not a road has been constructed. What do you have to say about that, Mr. Governor? You remember that? Journalism, We got a hot scoop. Hey, kid, grab the keys and get your coat. We got a hot scoop. And then they would go and drive somewhere, and then they would interview somebody, some guy behind a bar cleaning a glass. Hey, the guy was in here 2 hours ago. I tell you, he had a funny look on his face. And then they write that down. And that becomes a breaking story. Man with funny look on his face embezzles millions of dollars from the road system. Ha ha! Journalism. They used to have that. We don't have that anymore. We have opinions. We've got cocksuckers with opinions behind paywalls. That's where we live now. Cocksuckers with opinions behind paywalls. We're not going to give you the news. We're going to pretend to give you the news. Then we're going to make you pay. We're going to make you pay to find out that it's not the news. So let's see. Let's see what's happening with our friends across the pond at The Guardian. Democrat.com. Let's see. Democrats files articles of impeachment. I don't care. I got my news. Guys, we have our own news sources. You don't need to publish your news. Publish your news, okay? Not our news. Your news, all right? Georgia man charged over attacks that killed DHS. Again, this is American news. Is nothing happening in the UK? I want theguardian.co.uk. Give me British news. Wow, and you can't get British news. Democrats, Trump. Where is the British news? Trump, West Coast features. We don't want this. We want British news, and we can't find British news, guys. I don't know if this podcast has been a success or a failure. I don't know. We haven't found much news from Britain. We got the cool guy from Iran, but that was it. Other than that, I don't know what's happening in Britain. We've been here for a while trying to find it, and we've only reached paywalls. Oh, well. I guess that's sometimes a good lesson to learn. That we seek and we seek and we seek because we are human beings with curious spirits. Inside of all of us lives this ball of curiosity. And we yearn to seek knowledge, to seek information. What is the sun going to look like tomorrow? Is it going to rain? How is my aunt doing? Is there enough gas in my car? Should I try the chili mac and cheese from this certain place? We want to know. And then as we're living, we're like, wow, look at that flower. What is that flower called? Is that spider poisonous? Can I jump into that water and some animal won't eat me? Curiosity is what kept us alive, because we had to go out there into a cold, brazen, cruel world where there was giant things that could eat you and people that sharpened bones into knives and stabbed you. And you had this little castle that some douchey lord built with his father's gold shillings. And you just stayed there and you baled hay. And you asked some questions, but you really didn't ask many questions because you didn't know anything. The only thing you knew was what the Bible taught you. And maybe in that little castle there was like 3 other books that everyone passed around. But you were curious. There was still that curiosity in you. And you wanted to go out there and you wanted to see the world, but it was so scary. What could you do? You had to wait until some guy with a horse and a cart, and he's got bread and skins, and you're like, ooh, oh my God, this guy must be a superstar. He's got bread and animal skins. Maybe I could go with him. And you offer to go with him, and then you go off into the world, and you meet a woman, and you're like, wow, and you see like nice tits for the first time, and you get to the ocean, and you're like, holy moly, what's on the other side of that? And you'll never know. You will never know what's on the other side of that. Never, ever, ever. You see the boats taking off, and you're like, oh, will I ever see them again? Probably not. Probably not. And you just stay there at the beach, and you dig your toes into the sand, and you feel the breeze against your skin. And it's an old shirt, and it's worn and dirty and ragged, and it's your only shirt. I don't even think you call it a shirt. It's just cloths. It's just one shirt. You don't have pants. It's one shirt that goes all the way down. And for a second, you close your eyes and you hear a bird. And you've never heard that bird before. And your heart starts to glow. And that is curiosity. And you should never lose that. Because we're quickly losing that to AI and the rat race of life, and just moving so fast with so many options at our disposal that we don't even know where to begin. We don't even know when to stop and when to breathe and when to just shut the fuck up and close your eyes for a second and listen to that bird that you've never heard before. Thank you.